Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. Guys, I've really missed you during this international break, and I've missed Napoli, but I'm excited to speak to you today on this video because it has to do with three different passions of mine. And these are not just things that I've put down on a piece of paper and selling you as my passions. No, you see, I actually went and got a brain scan in these last few days, and the doctors were able to, I mean, first of all, look how big my brain is. I mean, I'm so proud of this. But the doctors were able to zoom in and actually identify my three passions. So, number one, football. Okay, congrats to the doctors. They know what they're looking at. Number two, memes. I mean, guys, by this point, everybody's familiar with my game. I don't even think they had to look into my brain for that. I mean, they just probably follow me on official Napoli Talk on Instagram, right? And they see my game there. And number three, wait, I really hope they don't expose me here. Ah, okay. Redacted. Okay, nice. Nice. Good job, guys. Let's just replace this with something else. Let's keep it PG. And yeah, we'll go with data, okay? I can get behind that. And guys, this video is something I'm very passionate about because it's all of that. It's a bit of data, a bit of memes, a bit of football. And if you like at least two of those things, well, if you like at least one of those things, then stick around, okay? And why don't you hit that like button and subscribe while you're at it, huh? But, anyways, you might be wondering why I gathered you all here today, and that is because Claudio Ranieri has replaced Ivan Juric as the manager of Roma. Guys, this is another manager change by Roma. I mean, come on. Who even does that? Three managers in a season? I mean, I don't know anybody who's done that before, right? I mean, yeah. I I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean, no way. But okay. Anyways, this got me thinking a little bit about all the manager changes that happened mid-season in the Serie A over the last 10 years. And yes, I put everything into an Excel sheet because data, guys, I told you this thing was about data. Why don't you guys believe me when I say it? So there's been 108. Technically, 110 will happen on Sunday as Ranieri comes in, and there's also one more manager change in Serie A. But we can look at the last 108, and what really strikes me here is that, goddamn, De Nicola and Ballardini, I've seen their names 100 times on this Excel list. I mean, why is it that their name always comes up? Like, they are single-handedly responsible for manager changes, stepping in, avoiding relegation, getting relegated. I mean, these guys, they love this. They'll love this video if they ever find it. But what got me thinking, particularly in the context of Napoli Roma happening this weekend, is does the new manager bounce exist? And can we actually quantify this thing? And guys, I mean, this is up there as one of the top 10 mysteries that science cannot explain. You know, it's literally like, are unicorns real? Can Juventus actually do accounting properly? What happened to the VAR room during Inter Napoli? Guys, science cannot explain these things. I'm pretty sure Netflix is about to make a documentary about this stuff, but while we wait for that, I'm here. I got you, fam. I'm here for you. And we will go through a super scientific method on trying to figure out if the new manager bounce actually exists, okay? And I need you guys to really focus here because I'm about to explain the procedure about how to go about this, okay? So, number one, guys, we take the result in the last game before a coach got sacked and we compare it to the result in the first game with the new coach. Okay? Do you guys understand that? Let me repeat. We take the result in the last game before getting sacked versus the first game with the new coach. Okay? We take the last game and the first game. The last game and the first game. Guys, the last game and the first game. Okay? You good? Do you follow me? Okay, great. Now let's take a look at what the data tells us. Okay? And maybe it might surprise you. Maybe it doesn't. But there we go. The data. Once again, I told you there would be data. And it's incredible, guys. You can see with that orange line that over the last 10 or so seasons, there's been, on average, quite a noticeable gap in performance between the last game of when a manager was there and then he got sacked and when the new guy came in. Now, in 2024, 2025, we only have one case of that happening so far this season. And that's why, the results are so high. It's because when Ivan Juric replaced Daniele De Rossi, he got a win. So that's 3 points. I mean, there's very low amounts of data points for the 24-25 season. But in from 15-16 all the way to 23-24, there's been on average 10, 12 different manager changes. And so you can say it's kind of statistically relevant, the data that I'm presenting to you. And now, if we were to take an average of this, well, first of all, stonks. Okay, I forgot that. I forgot this meme was in there. But yes, stonks, man. I mean, if you change manager, you get a new manager bounce. And if we take a look at the average and we put a figure on this, you can see that on average, in the first game after a new manager comes, teams average 1.28 points per game, and before that, it was 0.40. Now, typically, guys, teams change managers whenever there's a loss that just occurred, so that last result tends to be lower than the average result that that coach was getting throughout, I don't know, the last 10, 20, 30 games, however long he was at the club for. There's usually like a steep decline in performances leading up to getting sacked, so this 0.40 maybe is a bit misleading. But anyways, I mean, if we just contextualize the performance difference, and we take a random league table, absolutely no bias here on which one I'm going to choose, but let's take this season here on the screen and we were to plot these numbers on, okay, with that points per game, where would I finish in the table? You'll see that actually you go from an average of points per game that would get you, I mean, super relegated. I mean, at this point, you don't even go down to Serie B. You go down to Serie C, buddy. I mean, that's bad, 0.40 games. You are doing worse than Sampdoria did 2 years ago. But with the new manager bounce at 1.28 points per game, you would finish, if you were to keep that up, pretty much at mid-table. So not bad, guys. The thing is that we have to, put some context, right? So this is the immediate effect, right? That's how good relative to the last game the team was. But obviously, guys, you can't extrapolate 2 games over the course of a season. So let's take a look at, on average, how those new managers did, right? And then we see if actually was there a new manager bounce because of the hype of the new manager, or did the new manager come in there and he's actually a better manager? And there's no such thing as a new manager bounce in itself, but just a new manager tends to be picked who's who tends to be better. So if we take a look at how, on average, the new manager performed throughout his tenure at the club that he gets into, you'll see that he averages, or they average, 1.11 points per game, which is below their average during the first match. That means that that difference between 1.28 and 1.11 is the extra oomph that a new manager brings that's overperforming even his, average, which, I mean, for me, it's crazy to think that, we can put some numbers into this oomph factor, but that's essentially, how well players respond to a new manager, right? And just to be fair to the guys that came before, as I said earlier, it's not that they were performing at 0.40 points per game consistently. Actually, they were performing more or less at 0.84, these coaches, before getting sacked. It's just that the last match on average was 0.40 points per game. And so you can see, actually, if you take a look at the two middle numbers, that when you change coach, on average, you go from 0.84 points per game to 1.11. And normally, that is the difference between 32 points and 42 points averaging per season. So that is actually significant. In normal seasons, that is the difference between being in a relegation fight and actually making sure that you get out of there alive. So, congrats to, on average, the different Serie A teams who have been able to get that boost by changing manager. But yeah, that difference between 1.11 and 1.28, that is the overperformance that the new manager has in the first game relative to his entire tenure at the club, right? And again, if we were to take a look at just 1.28 versus 0.40, that's the gap between one game and the other. I mean, that's huge, guys. Definitely the new manager bounce exists, okay? And we've put data into this, guys. So, I'm happy. I'm happy, okay? But then, hold up. Now I have to balance my happiness for having found insightful information from data and the fact that, goddamn, we are playing against a team that might have the new manager bounce this weekend, and that's not fun, guys. I mean, why us? Why always us? Okay, but maybe there's a bit of hope, right? Maybe Roma, they don't feel this effect historically, right? I mean, who knows? Let's see what the data tells us specifically about Roma. And yeah, we're screwed, guys, because actually Roma is on the very positive extreme of this case, where the new manager bounce for them almost guarantees 3 points. In the 4 or 5 times that they've changed managers mid-season over the last 10 years, they went from the previous game almost always losing, and so their points per game was around 0.50, which is basically zero, to 2.50, which is basically 3 points. So they've consistently benefited from changing a manager in the immediate aftermath. Okay, but maybe it's not over for us, because we've faced teams that have played with a new manager, okay, in the last 10 years, and maybe it hasn't really affected us. Maybe we've been so good in the past that even when a team specifically playing against Napoli, plays against us, it has not affected us. So let's take a look at that number and that data and see what it says. And yeah, no, we're definitely still screwed, because actually the teams that we've played with a new manager. In the game before, they were only averaging 0.17 points per game. I mean, guys, that is super. Basically, they were dead, okay? And then they play Napoli and they average close to 1 point per game, which means that they come away with at least a draw. And in some cases, they won. In some cases, they lost. But in some cases, they won, guys. I mean, we were able to resuscitate the dead, essentially. And, the new manager that came in for the other teams, they played against Napoli. I mean, they sometimes, walked away with nothing, but sometimes they actually got their dead teams to get some points out of us. So definitely it doesn't look good for us again against Roma, guys. I'm sorry, but the data is objective. I'm just putting it out there. So, maybe we might expect something like this to happen this weekend, right? With Roma, they're falling down the table, and then, but not for me. Call the ambulance, but not for me, because they have to play versus Napoli with a new manager. So yeah, I mean, if you are feeling like this right now, yeah, I'm feeling like that too, man. We're in the same boat, and this research has led me into a path of depression, right? Because now I'm sweating for the next 24 hours. I'm really not looking forward to this Napoli Roma game because, I mean, the math don't be lying, right? And what are we gonna do about it? We got to make sure that we are the exception to the rule. But there's also the possibility, guys, that maybe Ranieri is just a chill guy. Maybe he's aware of this new manager bounce effect, but he just won't use it, right? He's just a chill guy. He's just gonna walk up there, walk onto the field and do nothing, right? He's not going to change anything compared to what Juric did. He's just going to live and bask in the moment, and just absorb the fact that he's a Roma manager, get settled in really slow, but like really, really slow. And then maybe in the second game, maybe they can have the new manager bounce effect in the second game. So guys, that is my hope for the game on Sunday. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope the data part was not too complicated to understand. I really don't think it was. I hope you guys enjoyed the memes. And as always, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, and once again, smash that like button and subscribe. If you've made it this far, guys, I appreciate you because right now we are nearly at 5,000 subscribers. I think I'm missing 15, 20 more. So if you've not yet subscribed, you could be the one to steal my heart and also to get me to 5,000 subscribers. So make sure you do that. And yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. And look, I might have ruined the next 24 hours for you ahead of the Roma game, but hopefully we walk away on Sunday with those 3 points. And guys, as always, see you later and Forza Napoli sempre. Ciao.